Hello Pisces, welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Pisces is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider hitting the subscribe button, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Pisces, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you, the Hanged Man. You're someone who is suffering for what you love, right? You have surrendered to this current, to this flow, and I feel like you've been sacrificing and sacrificing and sacrificing, okay? Sometimes in the Hanged Man position, we kind of wonder, like, when is it going to end, right? When are things going to get better? Yeah. This is a card of kind of a voluntary sacrifice, that there's something you love enough that you've given it the shirt right off your back. You've given it everything you have. You've put all of yourself into it, and you're trusting in it. This is kind of a card that's like it's almost like one of those trust exercises, where we just kind of fall backward. We're kind of doing a trust fall with the universe here. And we're hoping that it's going to, the current is going to carry us to a good place, a nice place, right? Somewhere safe and warm and with food and, some abundance for us. Because we've been sacrificing, I think, for a long time. You've been giving something of your energy. You've been putting into it. Okay? I want to put this card into a little bit of context. I feel like this is a very, well, it's a self-sacrificing energy. I think that this is showing a devotion in you. Okay? Whatever your path is right now, this is how much you've suffered for it. Oh, we got the Moon card. We got your Pisces Power card. That is the card that is associated with the sign of Pisces. Okay, it's your superpower card. Here we have an Ace of Cups. Oh yeah. We have the Lover's card behind you. A Two of Swords. Okay, Two of Swords up top here, yeah? Interesting. And we have a Six of Swords. Sticking to the plan. The commitment, the question, the decision. Yes, am I doing this? Yes, we've committed to it. But now we're kind of wondering, did I do the right thing? We're sticking to the plan, okay? Over here, we've got the Eight of Swords. Yeah, we're kind of overthinking things a little bit. We're wondering, when is this change going to happen? When is the sun going to rise finally for me? Okay? We see the Devil card in the environment. We see a Knight of Swords and the Ace of Wands. So I feel like we are being told to focus, concentrate. I feel like this is we're sort of waiting for the divine timing. We're not trying to force anything, but we're trying to stay committed. We're trying to stay confident. We're trying to stay focused. And the sun will rise when the sun rises. We've got this Moon card. We cannot force the sun to rise. You're planting these seeds, and yeah, we might feel as if we are suffering for the sake of this project, this life, this, whatever it is you're doing, whatever your goals are. Every seed has a perfect moment to sprout. We can't push it. And we can't pull it. We can't prevent it. All we can do is nurture it and water it, right? And give ourselves to it. And when it's ready, it will blossom. It will be here. It will sprout and it will grow. And the abundance will arrive. Okay? Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right here with the Eight of Pentacles right there on top. We're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any point during this message you feel like you might know what that card is, put your prediction in the comments down below. Looking around the room here, we see our 4 major arcana energies. We see our fire at the end, thankfully, right? This is that fire of ambition and focus and concentration and motivation and will, right? That is your will. We've got A little bit of water underneath that kind of ace and the ace, right? This is the Holy Grail. And this is kind of what the Hanged Man is reaching for, right? Reaching for the Holy Grail. That's why we're suffering. This is your motivation. We do have a lot of air. Air. Even this Lover's card is some air energy, okay? And what we don't have is any earth cards. Okay, it doesn't matter what this is. And I think the earth card is two things. One, it's symbolizing that fact that it doesn't matter what this is, it doesn't matter what you're doing, what matters is how and why. It doesn't matter what you're suffering for, but the fact that you know why you're willing to sacrifice for this. Okay? And then also the second reason the earth energy isn't here yet, because we haven't had the rewards, we haven't had the bounty, the harvest isn't here yet. Okay, we don't want to interrupt the natural blossoming of things. The harvest will arrive. Okay, I promise you. We have to stay the course. We have to let things play out in their natural cycles. Because you've got this moon energy, I think that you are in the dark, scary forest, and it's not fun. And we're waiting for the sun to rise. We're waiting for the morning. We're waiting for the nighttime to be over. We're waiting for the daylight where it's warm. We're happy. It's fun. And it's, we can enjoy things. So we're waiting for the harvest, I think this card is also saying that right now you should maybe try to align yourself with some of the lunar cycles, right? Let's get kind of involved in the divine timing, a little bit of the cosmic cycles. Maybe you should attune yourself to the lunar phases, okay? I'm not so attuned to the lunar phases myself. But you can time some of your activities and some of your practices with the full moon and the new moon, okay? Maybe the new moon is a time to begin new things and to start new projects and to plant more seeds, and perhaps the full moon is the time where we can rest and we can recognize and we can release, okay? And we can kind of follow that. Maybe that might already be a study for you, is the lunar phases and how your sort of spiritual or magical practices can tie into the lunar cycles, okay? I think that's going to be a very important thing for you, and it's going to be very helpful, especially when we're in this moment of right now feeling as if this suffering is never going to end. We kind of feel like the sun is never going to rise here. Maybe we tune ourselves in not so much to the solar cycle, but to the lunar cycle, which is a little bit faster. So what that could be saying is that we want to find kind of short-term goals, like on a semi-monthly basis, right, where we can get out of the suffering mode and we can enjoy some of the harvest now. We don't have to wait for the full thing to arrive to enjoy it. Maybe we take little, on a cycle, on a schedule, we take breaks. We learn to sort of reap some of the rewards now. It's almost like we can take a sample of things before the full batch arrives. And I think that this is going to be a way for us to relieve a little bit of that Hanged Man's, suffering, right? No one wants to be in this position for long, but this kind of reminds me of like Odin on the tree, that Odin is willing to suffer for as long as it takes to receive what he is seeking. And that's kind of like we're willing to suffer for as long as it takes for that sun to rise and for us to be out of this and to get the bounty and the harvest and whatever our goals are. But if we attune ourselves to the lunar cycle, maybe we will, maybe we'll be able to have a little bit of a reprieve from the suffering, on a let's say a monthly basis, right? Where we, in a practical way, we can schedule something in for, once a month. We take a break from this and we do something that is just rewarding and pleasurable and feels good. Even though it's like, well, it's not the goal, but it's something that's going to keep you motivated, something that'll help you to sort of recharge your batteries, right? Under the surface, of course, you have your Ace of Cups. This is your heart. This is the Holy Grail for you. This is why you're doing what you're doing, okay? This is the reason for your suffering, because you love something more than anything in the world. And because we love this, we realize that this current phase of things matters. All the phases matter, okay? So we might be acting or we might be waiting. I feel like this right now is it feels like we're waiting for something, okay? And I feel like it's all part of the plan. I feel like the phase will continue, the cycle will continue, and we'll be back in that mode of action. Maybe we feel like right now with this Hanged Man, maybe we feel like we're waiting for something and there's nothing really for us to do. I mean, this feels like we're being idle. I mean, it feels like I'm not being proactive enough, you know. But even this waiting, even this period where there's nothing sort of external that we can do, what we can do is the internal work. Okay, maybe it's saying that there is a lot of work that's going on under the surface, even if we're not kind of physically, externally active, actively pursuing the goal at this time. Okay, there's still a lot of progress being made, but with all the air energy, I kind of feel like we're questioning things, especially with this Two of Swords. It kind of feels like, did I make the right choice to commit to this? Is there something better? Is there something I should be doing? And I kind of feel like now, no. I feel like what we need to do is just kind of, well, chill here, you know, as difficult as that might be, to just, you know, maybe it's kind of an inactive period, and maybe that's the right thing to do, is to relax and wait, and let the phases continue, let the cycle move on until it's time to act again. Could be that we are experiencing that suffering because we're not moving enough, right? When we think of, we have the goat, the devil energy in the environment. The goat likes to climb the mountain. You put it in front of any mountain, it's going to climb it. The worst thing for the goat is to be told, no, you can't climb. You know, you got to stay down here. You can't climb yet. It's not time. We're not ready. And so it's kind of like, you know, all the expedition that wants to climb Mount Everest, but the expedition leader says, no, the weather's not right yet. We're not going to climb today. And everybody starts to get frustrated. Everybody starts to question things. Everybody starts to doubt and second guess the leader. Second guess their whole reason. Why am I even here? Do I even care about climbing the mountain? You know, because it's frustrating to be in that period of waiting. But maybe this is very important because you don't want to climb when the timing isn't right, when the weather's not right. It's too dangerous. So the expedition leader says, we're going to wait for the weather to clear, then we're going to go. Okay. And I think the Two of Swords is your decision to stick with your commitment, to wait if you need to wait, act when you need to act, and sort of find ways that you can alleviate a little bit of your suffering now and again. Okay? In order to keep you on the path. And maybe it's just a matter of self-care. Maybe it's a little bit of sort of having a self-care day once in a while, scheduling it in, you know, every third Thursday of the month or something, you know. But the Two of Swords is kind of, it makes me feel like you're questioning your decision or questioning your commitment. And the commitment is the Lover's card. Did I do the right thing? Was this the right decision I made? Now, the Lover's card, it could be a romantic thing. I don't think it necessarily is. But whatever your goals are, I don't know what they are. You've committed to it 1,000%. This is in the past. You've already said yes to it. Okay? And I think you said yes knowing that there would be these, it would kind of be, there would be phases. It would be kind of a cyclic process. And you care about it enough, you want it enough, this holy grail, right, that you were willing to suffer for it. And you've already committed to it. So it doesn't do us much good now to start doubting or questioning our decision, okay? Your decision has already aligned with your highest good. We've already determined that this is our will to go after this, to this union, this holy grail, this goal, whatever it might be. And right now we're in this period of suffering, and that is just kind of the way it is, okay? And now when I say suffering and sacrifice, you know, I feel like it is it's the sort of the pain of not being at the goal yet. Okay? Obviously, one of the goals in life is to alleviate suffering for ourselves and others, right? To improve the quality of our life. Sometimes we feel like we're not moving fast enough. Sometimes we feel like we're still waiting for Spirit to open the door for us somewhere, right? And it's like the goat at the bottom of the mountain that's being told, no, you can't climb yet. You got to wait. It's not time. It's not time. That feels painful. That feels like suffering. Okay, that's kind of what we mean. Moving forward, though, we see the Six of Swords, the plan. We realize that if I'm waiting now, if Spirit has shut the door somewhere, there's a reason why. It sucks. I don't like it. But I understand I understand why things have to be the way they are sometimes. Sometimes, like the expedition with the weather. I realize, I acknowledge that. It doesn't make it feel any better. But intellectually, we know, okay, this is part of the plan. I knew this would be part of it. I knew that if the weather wasn't right, we'd have to wait for the weather. And that's, the most of the time is spent waiting. Most of the time in life is spent at the plateau or at the base camp, where it's like we're not climbing, we're here. What do we do while we're here? When you're on the plateau, or if, let's say, you're exercising, or you're practicing, or learning a skill, or you're learning anything, what happens when you plateau? Do you just sit there and be frustrated? Or do you force your way through? What do you do? What do you do while you're waiting? What type of person are you when let's say you're waiting for the doctor, you're in the waiting room. What do you do? What's your way of utilizing that time? Do you just sit there frustrated, fidgeting, just kind of grinding your teeth and biting your nails and or do you read something frivolous, just, a magazine? Okay, I'll read a magazine, whatever it is. Or do you do something intentional? Do we sit there? Maybe I can sit there and breathe. Maybe I can do prayers. Maybe I can meditate. Maybe I can read a book that I brought. Maybe I can use this time to send some text to people that I haven't talked to in a while. Like, how do we use that time? Maybe at the plateau is where we can really practice things that are going to help us when we are finally on the climb, So people who are on the plateau, or people who are waiting at the base of the mountain, they're not allowed to climb yet. Some people are just sleeping. Some people are just walking around mad. Some people are just distracting themselves with whatever. Some people are practicing. Some people have got their crampons on and they're figuring out their ropes, and they're like doing little practice drills and things, They're just practicing the fundamentals that they have already learned. Those are the smart ones, right? Not the ones that are sleeping or, just eating or just goofing around or whatever. The ones that are like saying, okay, you know what, I maybe have a day or two to wait. I'm gonna brush up on my skills. I'm gonna do something productive. And so we make use of the time the best we can as we're sort of waiting for the timing of things to sort of align with our expectations, And the thing about divine timing is that it doesn't care whether we approve of it or not. It doesn't even care if we participate. It is what it is, The Eight of Swords now on the path of the Serpent we've got over here. By the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. The readings are totally free. The Eight of Swords is sort of a sabotage. It's sort of a self-doubt. It is it's a general energy that is kind of like I don't know, idle hands are the devil's plaything, right? It's kind of like we don't like waiting because maybe we get a little anxious. Maybe we get a little bit too in our heads about things, right? And what we really want to do is we want to start taking action. So this is kind of a card of rumination. And especially when you're in a hanged man position, sometimes it feels like all I have time to do now is stew about stuff. When we're waiting for something, then our thoughts really can kick in. You're waiting for the doctor to call you back into the little room, and you're just getting more and more worked up, more and more nervous, more and more anxious. We're ruminating on all the possibilities, Especially when we're waiting for something, let's say we're waiting for a phone call to come back, and we start to think too much about it. Like, why aren't they calling me? Oh, that's because I didn't get the job. Oh, it must be because they found something bad, or if they would have called me sooner. It's kind of like when the jury's out for deliberation. We think, well, if it's taking too long, then, there must be a problem. Something's going wrong, And we start to catastrophize. We start to think of the worst case scenarios. We need to occupy ourselves in a different way in order to keep ourselves focused, right? So this is rumination that is going to prevent us from being ready to act when the divine timing does come around, okay? We are going to reach the goal. This current phase matters. This is very important. There's a reason why things are delayed. There's a reason why you're here waiting. We need to occupy this time in the best way possible. We need to learn how to wait, right? In harmony. Harmony. 6, harmony, right? Beauty. And not in a tangle of wires, not in overthinking, okay? Because we overthink so much, we're going to end up sabotaging it. we're going to end up saying, well, I give up, I quit, I'm just going to leave. They're not going to call me, I'm going to go do something else. Or, you know, it's bad news and I'm already going to believe that the news is bad and I'm going to behave that way. I'm going to behave as if that were true. So we're going to end up seriously sabotaging our progress. We're going to end up just quitting, getting off the mountain and walking away. And as soon as you walk away, that's when the weather clears and everybody else gets to go up the hill. As soon as you walk away from the phone, well, that's when they call, you know. So, you know, as we were waiting for the doctor and you're waiting. As soon as you say, well, screw this, I'm going to go home. As soon as you leave the office, they're going to call your name to come back, you know. So we have to occupy this time in a way that is productive and in harmony with the flow of things, because there are things outside of our control, you know. And of course, we got the Devil card in the environment. You feel like you're ready to go, you know. Again, this is the motivation, right? We feel very motivated to keep going, even if there is there's not much to really show for it yet. I don't know which phase you're in. I don't know if you're in a phase of waiting or in a phase of acting. It feels to me like it's more a phase of waiting. But we need to keep the goat healthy and fit while we wait, you know. We have to keep it ready to climb. And so again, it's kind of like, what can we do while we wait? How do we prepare ourselves? Because I feel like the doorway is going to open very quickly. I feel like it's going to happen fast for you, okay? Because we see already in the reading, we're going from this Hanged Man stuff right into an Ace of Wands. So the Ace of Wands is when, okay, it's time for you to go. The weather's cleared, and when the weather clears on Mount Everest, you got a really short window. Everybody better be ready to go. When I say get in the car, I expect everybody in the car within 5 minutes or I'm leaving without you. You know, it's that kind of a vibe. So I feel like it's happening very fast, and we have to make sure that we're ready to go at a moment's notice. Okay, so we're keeping the car warmed up. You know what I mean? Maybe we're idling the engine a little bit. We're keeping it warmed up. We're keeping the goat fed and fit, and it's ready at a moment's notice. Okay, this is your endurance, your stamina. This is kind of this is what motivates you. Yeah. And I think that when you're motivated, you'll find a way to make it work. If you really care, if this is really your deal, you're not going to walk away when it starts to get difficult or boring, or when we feel like there's a delay or something, right? We're committed, we're motivated. So we're gonna do whatever we can do while we wait for some door to open or some bell to ring or some phone call to come in. I do feel like it's coming in. This is the Knight of Swords. I feel like this is a rush of energy. I feel like this is the communication. This is the message coming in. I don't know if maybe it is a phone call you're waiting for or something like that. It's coming, and it's in the position of kind of the difficulty or the fear, because obviously the Hanged Man is afraid that it's going to be left hanging forever and the message is never going to come in. It is coming in, and when it does, you're going to be ready to act immediately. Okay? I think the doorway to your miracle is opening now. The harvest is going to be here. You've got to be ready to go at that moment's notice. I want to look at this mystery card. I fully expect like a 9 or a 10 of Pentacles. Okay? It could be an Ace of Pentacles too, to go with our aces. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Let's see. Oh, at the 10 of Cups. Yeah, even better. Because this is kind of the joy, right? This is that jackpot joy of the Hanged Man, that like, it's finally here, you know? So it's not really about the physical manifestation of something. It's about how good it feels to finally get to the goal, to finally, get out of that Hanged Man position. And I feel like what this card does is it really it flips the Hanged Man around into the fire dancer. We're no longer waiting and sinking down and just kind of, suffering. We are now rising up and we're emerging victorious, and we are celebrating that we're dancing. We're dancing on fire here, right? And so it feels like this is the harvest. This is really like you're in tune with those cosmic cycles and those divine cycles. And you're occupying your time while you're waiting. You're devoted to something. You're committed. You're willing to sacrifice for it. And all of that sacrifice is all that waiting is going to pay off. And the harvest will be here. Okay? We can't rush it, though. And that's just it. I know I can't rush it, but I want to rush it. It's going to be well worth the wait. This is that jackpot energy. This is a satisfaction. This is a dream come true. Okay? This is really nice. I'm very happy about this. We're going to do an extended reading too. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner and there's a link in the video description. New readings for Pisces, Thursday and Sunday. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, though, please do. The readings are totally free. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.